You could pay tens of thousands of dollars into an AI and never know if it actually is helping your business.
And that is what we started talking about.
That is why
Is
we do this.
is that a lot of people want to just implement AI into their company, but they may be doing it wrong,
Yeah.
right? And that's this whole conversation that we're having right now is yes, you want to solve problem A, but what about problem B, C, and D? And are you doing it wrong to begin with? Are you just throwing good money for bad? Or are you just throwing it away because someone said go and put an AI bot or chat or whatever agent into whatever part of your process
Yeah.
and it's going to fix it all?
Yeah.
You got to ask the questions like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do not want to set yourself up for failure.
Or what do you think the most important is? What's the easiest problem to solve? Well, let's just talk about that.
And say, yeah, well,
So
let's apply these four questions to you. Like,
Okay.
you have pain. Who's affected?
Mhm.
We'll step through it. We'll answer these four questions.
Okay. So the very first question was
Who is affected?
who is affected? So, okay, for example, well, I mean, I have so many problems, right, in my business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say the easy one that we're fixing right now is the phones, right?
Okay.
So my customers, everyone who calls, if my girl up front who is taking the phone calls, she can only take one call at a time, right? So if one person calls, that means the next two or three people, if they call around the same time, and everyone eats lunch around the same time, so they're usually calling around the same time, and the phone just keeps going and going and going. How many of those calls do we actually miss? That's a really good question, right? Maybe I miss 10 of those phone calls a day. And those that could be an extra $300 a day in sales and an extra, $9,000 a month in sales, which I don't know, $90,000, $100,000 at $110,000 at the end of the year, whatever the case, whatever it is. So that's a problem. I get people who are frustrated. They probably won't want to do business with us when they're frustrated. I'm not calling that place. They never answer the phone, right?
Yep.
So people who, even good customers, don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then human error, right? Oh, I thought you said this. I thought you said this. Oh, I never hit send. I'm so sorry. Because what'll happen is people will come in, hey, I'm Joe. I'm here to pick up whatever. I'm like, oh, I don't have an order for Joe. Yeah, I just talked to you on the phone. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to hit send. And that happens. That kind of, and wait 20 minutes. And I don't have 20 minutes. I only have a 30-minute lunch break. I have to go, right? And see you. I'm never coming back. 1-star review,
Yep.
right? And then let's see, what else happens? Just tying up that one person that could be doing something else. So we have customers in the door and we have customers on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion is the customer in the door is the most important customer because they're actually there with their money in hand, spending money right now. They should get the best possible customer service. But on the other hand, someone's going to say the same thing. Well, if I could take your payment over the phone, are you now the most important customer? I don't know. My customer service has always told me you take care of the guy in the door first, right? So if I can focus my real human on the real human in the door,
Right.
I think that makes the most sense. And if I could have AI handle the people on the phone, if they could do it well, then that makes a ton of sense to me.
Right.
So let's start there.
Okay. So this is a really fun problem because, well, fun for me because I'm just solving it
Nerdy.
in my head. I don't actually have to live the repercussions of my own decisions. First thing is that who is affected for that specific issue would be the customer that doesn't get served, right? Now, you kind of also gave that whole chain of events, right? And you also identified, where in the workflow is it happening. You have a clear bottleneck at the front. Now, you also gave us, a measurement for success, which is how many of these customers are we not capturing? and what value are those. Now, before you implement in AI, the question that you haven't answered is what is actually broken. Now, it can seem obvious. Well, obviously my customer response is what's broken, because I have one person answering the phone and other people are just not getting responded to. And you also connected the what's actually broken element to this idea of like customer priority. Now, I would argue that your most important customers are the 20% that are actually paying all of the bills, not the 80% that maybe come once or twice, or like every business has customers that are doing the lion's share of business.
Yeah, but how do you determine who those are?
You have to actually gather those metrics, right? Like a lot of people don't have. You have the ability, for example, to see which customers come back. You have the ability to see who's spending the most money. Do you track that stuff?
We do track it, but
Okay.
but usually when you're dealing with a customer in the door, it's like you're not like, okay, you've been in here 12 times, you've spent $111 with us in the last 3 days, whatever. It's not that. It's just like customer in the door. Here we go.
Right. As technology like AI becomes more available, it's like some people might have the ethical discussion about, is that intrusive? Well, I think on a small scale, like nobody cares at Walmart because they're massive. But if you went to your small burger joint, you'd probably get a lot more pushback. But it doesn't mean that when somebody calls your business that you can't have their lifetime value there. Because if you have a call log, let's say you have 10 customers waiting on hold, which one do you hit next? Now, an ethical
So you
person,
prioritize it by-
an ethical person might say the very next person that called. But what if person one past that is one of your key customers that drives a major part of your commercial, catering business? Are you going to take that person's call? Or are you going to take the person that has zero purchase history with you? Now, that's, from my perspective, you take the person that has been giving you their business. But some people are like, oh, well, that's unethical. It's like, but is it unethical if the purpose of the business is to provide the best service to the customers that are most loyal? Or is it to provide service to the next person in line?
So let's just say we'll take all that out of the equation. And what we're doing is we're just saying, okay, we want to get to all of the calls. Through that process, we'll determine who the priority is for our normal customers, right? Let's just say that we're there. So my restaurant. Now, I want to get to every phone call. That's my goal right now. So I don't want anybody to say, you guys never answered the phone.
Okay.
That's number one problem for me.
Okay, so if we go right there, what is broken? Okay, just on phone calls. Very first thing that you need to know is how many calls are you not getting to?
Which I don't.
But you see missed calls on your phone, right? Like you pull a phone record, you can see all the missed calls. And if you pull your business phone records, you should be able to see which calls were answered and which calls were missed, right? You could take that and stick it into ChatGPT and it will tell you all of the calls that you missed. Okay, so now we have data, we have a metric. Okay, now let's say that you miss 9 out of 10 calls, just for easy math. If you got to all of those calls, you would be 10xing the customer flow in your business. Would anything else break in your business right now if you 10x'd your customer flow?
Oh, yeah.
Lots of things would break.
Yeah.
Lots of things would break.
Right.
Right. And so when we go, well, my goal is to respond to everybody. Okay. Are you prepared to hit capacity and tell everyone else sorry? And are you prepared to say that to your best customers because they didn't call in the right order in line? Are you prepared to create a priority number where your best customers can call you because they're the ones that have given you their money the most and most often?
I think that's the problem to come, right?
Okay.
So when I fix this problem, then I'm going to have that problem.
So the reason why I raised the specter of this metric of how many calls are you actually missing is that the AI tool that you're implementing will 100% get to every single call. That's his job,
Yeah.
right? And it could potentially take 1,000 orders a day. Where would you be if you went from 100 orders a day to 1,000 orders a day, just because you implemented this new AI answering service, right? So there has to be a guardrail in there somewhere, so that this new tool doesn't scale all of the problems in your business. And if you don't know what that is, like, how much more do we take on? What should I be watching? Then you haven't identified the problem. You're going to implement it. It's going to scale the response times. It's going to automatically take those orders. It's going to tell people what a yummy choice. And then you're going to have to hit the emergency stop button. And then all of a sudden your phones are just going to go dead because you've turned over that control to the AI, right? And you didn't think through the exact problem you're solving and what that success metric actually looks like. And so you might go, I know how many calls I'm missing because I can look at the call record. I can see by a percentage how many calls this one person being in this role has caused a bottleneck in my business. And I can say, well, let's say I improve 10%. By my current conversion metrics on my business, I should see an increase in this many more customers. And I have that capacity with the buffer for emergencies, person gets sick, key man risk, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so you can say, okay, my real problem is not answering every call I've missed. My real problem is I need to increase response times this amount. And so when you get to that place, you've defined your problem.
Well, I don't think, and I think you're right. You're 100% right. That's like deep level thinking. But in my situation, like I don't have that many customers that it's gonna ruin my day if they all make it through, right? I probably have 20 to 30 customers a day that maybe I don't get to that would make my day really good, right? And I think what would happen is if we started to see that problem, then we would need to implement another agent that basically did prioritize people, based on the ticket size, based on whatever, based on how, are they my favorite customer? Or
Right.
do they have a private line that they've called or whatever the case? But right now, I'm just saying, I want to get to more phone calls, more,
Right.
right? So that's problem number one that I want to fix. I want to get to more phone calls. How do I do that?
Right. Well, again, so if we're going by our set of rules, we're saying identify these things, force yourself to answer these questions. Having an answer to more, like more is not a problem, right? Like more, it's like I need, like my kitchen isn't at capacity. I'm missing calls. It's damaging my reputation, right? Okay, reputation damage. That's a specific problem. How do I want to address this diminished reputation? I want to fix my response to customers. I observe it. I can see it. I know that getting back to people will fix my reputation in this area. Okay. How do I answer more phone calls? Well, that AI element that you introduced, that will answer every phone call. And so now you have who's affected, customer, your reputation. So we know who's at stake here, what's actually broken, not getting to customers damages reputation and increases churn. Customers feel all the things that they feel when they're not being attended to. Where in the workflow does it hurt? Front of house, that person who's responsible for answering the phones. So right up front. How will you measure success?
How will I?
Right.
When I stop getting calls that I don't order from you because you guys never answer the phone,
Okay.
right? Or maybe what you're saying is pulling the records to see how many calls we're missing.
Right.
But I think a lot of companies that are at the beginning stages, if there was a tool to do that, to go and pull the record and do the thing and send me a report and say, here's a flag.
Yeah.
I just pulled this report for you and you missed 12 phone calls today. I might be interested in hearing about that. But honestly, I'm probably not going to go and pull that report myself because, again, the reason why we're talking about this is I don't have the time.
Right.
I don't have the time in my business. I don't have the infrastructure. I don't have the people. I don't have the process in place to be able to do that, nor do I want to.
Yes.
Really don't want to. I just want to make sure that I have ample amounts of money coming in the door, customers are happy, and the customers that I do have are having a really good experience.
Well, isn't that the dream? Don't we
Yes.
all just want to push the more money button and and more money happens?
More money.
But as you experience, and I experience in different ways, that if there was a magic more money button, then being an entrepreneur would be the pursuit of all. And sometimes that is the allure, because we create this outward appearance of, well, I'll just hire somebody. But you often can't just hire somebody, because you have to know something about what's going on. You could pay tens of thousands of dollars into an AI and never know if it actually is helping your business.
And that is what we started talking about.
That is why we do this.
Is that a lot of people want to just implement AI into their company, but they may be doing it wrong, right? And that's this whole conversation that we're having right now is, yes, you want to solve problem A, but what about problem B, C, and D? And are you doing it wrong to begin with? Are you just throwing good money for bad? Or are you just throwing it away because someone said go and put an AI bot or chat or whatever agent into whatever part of your process and it's going to fix it all?
Yeah.
You got to ask the questions like you said. Yeah.
You do not want to set yourself up for failure. And it can seem daunting, but I think just in the couple of minutes of the conversation that we've had, we actually narrowed down your scope quite significantly from where it started. And even though we didn't answer some of the potential risks of implementing AI and overrunning the capacity of your business and those sorts of things, by asking the question, you actually had to think to yourself, no, you know what? Actually, I don't think that's a problem. But had you never even considered that, and then it happened,
no, you're 100% right.
then you would be in a whole different world of
Here's
hurt.
an example why. Here's an example why. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted an AI. So I have an event room, right, that you can rent for a party. Only one person can rent that out, right, per day, because you can't have two parties in the same room.
Right.
So what happens if my wish came true and I got AI to go ahead and just start booking people into the room for me, and I don't even need a salesperson anymore, and now it just does the thing, and it takes the credit card, and it tells them all the stuff that you have to do your own cleaning or whatever the case, and blah blah blah, and it overbooks or double books, or what if it took two phone calls at the exact same time and booked the same exact appointment for two people or three people? What if that happened? What if, it's majority, 99% of the time it's probably not going to happen, but man, that 1%.
We call those race conditions. That exact problem you see in a ticketing website. You're going to go buy tickets to an event. You select your seats. Or an airline, you select your seats. You ever select your seats and then go, and then back out of it and then try to go back and then select those seats again, but they're unavailable?
Fandango.
Right. But if you understand that race condition, like risk mitigation in their software, you just go, that was me who reserved those seats. And so now I just have to wait, 5 minutes or whatever the timeout is.
Yep.
And then I can go back and do it again. Right. And so some of these problems, we know the solutions to. But as a business owner, you're like, I don't want to learn all of these things. And boy, I get it. But if you're completely unaware of how your business is running, that you just don't even know that they exist as problems, then you're really doing yourself and your employees a disservice. And running a business, solving other people's problems, your customers' problems, requires taking on that responsibility, that you do push yourself to increase your awareness. And it will make you more successful. It'll make your business more successful. You'll provide way better service to your customers. And so, don't abdicate that responsibility.
So if you're just tuning in, I'm Bill Fisher and this is Jonathan Curry. And today we are talking about implementing AI into your business the wrong way, or not thinking about very specific things that you should be thinking about before you just implement, because company A down the street or your competitor is doing it, so you should do it too, right? And it may not be right for your company. You may be totally screwing the pooch by adding it if you don't know what your true problems are yet.
Yeah.
So, this is really good information. I really appreciate it because it is making me think deeper. Now, again, I'm hoping I run into that problem and I need a new agent to take care of that problem of too much business.
Yeah.
I hope I do, because I want the mo money button for sure. But for right now, the fix that I want is I want every customer experience to be a good experience starting from the phone. And so I want to be able to, number one, alleviate the stress load off of my front of house staff so they don't have to be on the phone as much. Because I still want, when the person comes and says, operator, I want to speak to a human. I don't want to talk to a computer, right? I want that to go right to the front, and so they're going to know when the phone actually does ring, that's that type of customer, right? And they need special kid gloves when you're dealing with those customers. But the rest of the orders is going to be automated, and it's going to print directly to the kitchen, and it's going to take that one person completely out of the loop, and now they're going to be able to address the customers who are in the door. They're going to be able to expedite orders. They're going to be able to make sure that the people with DoorDash and Uber Eats and so Grubhub, they're getting their orders on time, and it's going to effectively make the flow of people doing business with us on those levels faster and better. So I'm interested. I'm excited to do it, and I think it's going to help. But you're right. It could create more problems. Yeah.
And that, growing always comes with pains. And it's great that you have the attitude to invite as much of that as possible.
Yeah.
And these types of tools will absolutely streamline order intake and prioritize the people that really need to actually be on the phone. And I encourage you and all business owners to you're gathering a lot of this metric data already, and you may not realize it. Like if you're using the Square POS, like you're getting all of your sales data. If you have a telephone, you have call data. You can see how long people are spending on the phone on average. You can identify the phone numbers that take really long time and see if there's a pattern. Maybe there isn't, but to just assume that those things don't exist and being able to quantify the financial impact to your business. If you know which items on your menu are selling the best, and you, as a percentage of your total customer base, you can begin to extrapolate the impact of missing a call has on your business. And all of those capacity issues, all of those things, like how much food your kitchen can produce. How many hours are in a day. How many cooks you have. How many prep. All of it. You have all of that already. You're doing it already. But sometimes that information lies in your food procurement receipts. It lies in the telephone records that you haven't pulled. It lies in data metrics that you haven't set up on your point of sale systems. And so gathering that and using an AI to analyze all of it and see what those relationships are, types of things that a human could take a long time to do, or data analysts would put it all into a spreadsheet and look at it that way. And AI can just look at those receipts, it looks at times and dates, It looks at the times and dates of phone calls. You know, it can take security footage off of the inside of your store and correlate what times of days, what times of year do certain food products sell the most. You know, oh, maybe it's time for a promotion on those things. And a lot of those things are just beyond the task saturated owner.
Yeah, that's me. I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, that is so much. Holy cow. I'm not even thinking about all of these things that, I mean, they say the average restaurant fails in the first 3 years, but man, could you imagine if all those problems were taken care of in the first 3 years? What would that do to the rate of the amount of restaurants that failed in the first 3 years? If because the average guy or girl or business who starts up, they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is we just don't know what we don't know. And we learn it through process and procedure and trial and error. And usually trial and error means money lost.
Yeah.
And money lost usually means business can't succeed.
Right. And
Yeah.
these are the types of tools that, you know, in my mind, they almost exist at like larger franchise level tools. Where somebody comes in and says, hey, what if those problems solved for you?
Yeah.
Well, that is a restaurant franchise. That
Yeah.
is the reason people buy into a successful franchise, is to have access to those tools, those processes, the, you know, all the supply chain, all of that, because the problems are solved. And before AI, the cost of writing the software yourself completely cost prohibitive.
That's what I was just thinking. It must have
And-
been like millions of dollars versus like
Oh yeah,
hundreds or even just thousands now.
yeah. And so this is one of the points that's probably important to really draw out, is that AI is making accessible this type of analysis and this type of software building that at a price point that a business owner can actually afford. That makes sense because they can understand that, oh, this is going to pay itself off in 3 months. Okay. I'm pushing the go button on that. But before, it's like, this will never pay itself off. You will never make enough money to make it worth your while. And so you develop other handicaps. You sometimes just say, you know what? I'm just going to have to grind it out. And the reality of business is that most of the time it doesn't work out. And so these things that might seem very highbrow, they may seem very complicated, they may seem like they were reserved for only the most successful and elite, businesses, that has changed.
Yeah.
And that also is going to require the guy or gal in the truck to up their game and even be looking for some of these solutions that will be appearing that come off the shelf, and be thinking in this way. Because, as time passes, it's like my daughter is already, using AI. She's 6. Mm-hmm. The companies that she runs, this will just be as ubiquitous as email. Mm-hmm. And so, this is one of the reasons, why we're taking this approach, is like, start at the base, understand these basic business foundations, and be thinking in this way.
Yeah. And so what you just said there is understand your business. And I think that's what we have to do. So along with this courses, we're going to have a questionnaire for you to understand your business. And you'll want to go through and answer each and every single one of those questions so you can determine whether or not AI is going to be the right fit for you, or which AI or which agent is going to be the right fit for you or not. And so now what we're going to do is something fun. So Jonathan's going to go through right now in the future, and he's going to teach you how to build this agent that we're talking about. So this agent is going to be built based on your responses to your questionnaires, because every single business is different. Every single business, we all come about different problems, and we need different solutions. Company A is not the same as Company B. Not all the time, right? Even if it's a fast food restaurant versus another fast food restaurant. We may have the same types of problems, but we may not incur the same problem because we might have different people. We might have different procedures. One person may have come from a different business background. The other person just was a good cook.
Yeah, you're in a different market at a different time,
Yeah.
different levels of competition, different skills, all of those individual factors that make a problem that might have a modeled solution need to be custom tailored to your situation.
Okay, so today we're going to teach people how to
How to do that?
build what?
How to build an agent workflow
For the phone?
for the phone.
Awesome. This is going to be pretty exciting. I can't wait to see it. Let's go.
Let's go.